Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So a bunch of you guys last night requested a Superman black costume video just because people think that they may have seen another look from behind the scenes. Warner Brothers typically doesn't comment on stuff like this, and it may be fake. It looks like a very convincing fake if it is, but I wanted to explain the black costume from the comics because there's a long history of him wearing it in all the Justice League prequel scenes that set up his return, because even just in the couple of movies that we've seen so far, we've seen him come back to life. So there is a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So this is really cool, but a lot of people think that this is fake, so just, pending official confirmation, we just have to take it both ways. But the reason why people think that he's wearing a black suit at some point in the movie is because he was buried in his black Kryptonian suit in the comics. The original suit, as you can see, was just torn to shreds in his fight with Doomsday. The same thing happened after Superman's fight with Doomsday in Batman v Superman. And if you remember, all of the Kryptonians wear black under armor. Like, that's their version of underwear that they walk around in, that Superman's costume was colored blue to look like. So there's actually a lot of black Kryptonian suits that are left on Earth after all this Kryptonian stuff in the Man of Steel movie. And aesthetically, they've been pretty true to the comics, so I'll explain the black suit from the comics as well as the return of Superman in the movies. They've already given us all the evidence that we need and the synopsis for Justice League that tease up some of the Mother Box threat from Darkseid. They basically act like beacons that alert Darkseid's minions and Steppenwolf to what's going on Earth, so that sort of tease up the events of Justice League, which obviously gives Batman the nightmares that we saw during Batman v Superman. So we got like a couple really key scenes as well as the comic book black suit stuff. So far, the only confirmed new hardcore suit that we've seen is from Batman, just because of this increased threat. Even the Batmobile gets juiced up to fight parademons. The actual synopsis tells you a little bit about how crazy the threat is going to be. So it explains why some of them are wearing more hardcore suits. But it says, fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of his newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater enemy. Together, Batman and Wonder Woman work quickly to find and recruit a team of metahumans, which we all see here, to stand against a newly awakened threat, which makes you think about the Mother Boxes alerting them to their presence on Earth. But despite the formation of this unprecedented League of Heroes, using very special language there, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash, it may already be too late to save the planet from an assault of catastrophic proportions. So you basically have Batman's nightmare slowly coming true, albeit in a slightly different way. So this is that Batman v Superman scene where the parademons rush him. So just imagine a version of this without the Superman symbolism here. Now, what does that synopsis tell you? It tells you that Superman is not around, like he isn't in any of the promo material, even though he was in the behind-the-scenes teaser that they released a while ago where they were filming the movie, wearing his blue costume. Hardcore comic book fans will notice that he does not have a mullet in this picture, so either he's gotten a haircut or there will be no mullet. The reason for the mullet in the comics is just because this was a 90s thing. That was a 90s hairstyle. So Superman dies. The Eradicator steals his body and starts bombarding him with solar energy to try and bring him back, overloads it, and blows up the system, but he returns, but in that time span, his hair has grown out, so he just rolls with the new haircut. It was meant to be sort of a redesign for the character. So just to tee this up in the movies, we've already seen a couple scenes that have told us how he's coming back. So I'm gonna play like this last little scene, so we'll talk about the return of Superman and how that worked out in the comics. It's a slightly different story where the black costume comes from. So the funny thing about that scene, it's really just intended to tell you that Superman is slowly coming back to life. They had that scene where he got nuked earlier in the film with his fight with Doomsday, where the sun healed him. That was all intended to sort of tee that up, to let you know, hey, sunlight makes him better. He could come back from a near-death experience, or even death itself, just as long as he gets sunlight, solar radiation from our yellow sun. So buried in the coffin, underneath the ground, he's getting very, very little solar energy. It just takes a long time for his body to heal. So the dust that's like slowly rising off the coffin here doesn't totally make sense because Superman doesn't levitate things around him, he levitates himself. But I think the explanation here is that when he flies, like this is getting, hardcore technical explanation here. When he flies, there's just like a small field around his body that allows him like a certain measure of tactile kinesis. But it's not like he's telekinetic. Superman's had a lot of crazy powers in the classic comics, but in the modern continuity, they tried to be a little more simple about it. The point is that they just want to let you know that Superman is coming back, but it's not going to happen till the next movie. Very ambiguous about the timing of when he's coming back. But because Kryptonian science is still very new to the Earth, nobody knows about this. So Batman thinks he's dead, Wonder Woman thinks he's dead, even though she's seen a lot of things. She said she's killed things that are not from this Earth, so it was kind of surprised when she just bought Superman's death face value. But when you look at the suit, it's way more hardcore than the black comic book suit, which itself is also just a standard Kryptonian suit that he wears. It's almost like Kryptonian Under Armour. If you remember from the Man of Steel movie, they kind of tuned the colors down so it's hard to tell, but they all wear suits like that underneath their regular armor. Back during Man of Steel, when he found that first Kryptonian ship, it gave him the Superman costume, the blue one that he wore in that first movie. The ship itself made the costume. It's just sort of like a made-to-order thing based on Jor-El's specifications in Superman's input. So in the way that Lex tries to tap into the Kryptonian ship and learn things, people can use Kryptonian technology, but as of the beginning of Batman v Superman, there was like a prequel comic where you learn that even Bruce Wayne's company has been studying Kryptonian technology. So even if the ship was blown up and Superman just can't fabricate anything he wants anymore, there's other ways to adapt Kryptonian technology to help him out. And I think that we're headed for eventual Fortress of Solitude in the movies, but maybe not till the next Man of Steel movie, which we'll just tentatively call The Man of Tomorrow. You guys let me know if you agree though. Do you feel like they're going to leave Superman out of all the marketing materials, at least the early marketing materials for Justice League? That's going to be ramping up later this year, but I feel like they still want to have an element of surprise, even though the producers have acknowledged that he's coming back. Everybody that's ever read a comic book knows that he's coming back, and everybody that saw the movie and stayed through the end of Batman v Superman saw that he's coming back. So it's one of those weird situations where all the fans are just kind of like sitting there waiting for something to happen that they know is going to happen, just really hyped up. Congratulations to the new Flash Ring giveaway winner, Christopher Murray. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. What's going to happen later tonight is I was going to do a Green Lantern video because they've been talking about the casting. There's a lot of funny stories behind that. Bradley Cooper auditioned for the original Green Lantern, and now he's back on their list. So is Ryan Reynolds. It's a big WTF. But because Marvel Comics have been tanking lately, everybody feels like there's going to be a DC-style rebirth for Marvel during Infinity War. So I'll do a video for that tonight. Infinity War, Marvel Rebirth, and then Green Lantern tomorrow along with new Game of Thrones. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my breakdown of the other Justice League costumes that they just showed off, and you can click here for the trailer for the next episode of The Flash. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.